Good morning, Facebook community. This is Jennifer Noreen of Beyond Brand Collective, and I wanted to go live as promised with some thoughts about what's going on right now between Facebook and Apple. So, if you haven't heard, Apple is threatening to, from a device level, alert consumers of the advertising practices of social media channels like Facebook, probably not just Facebook, but that's the one that's in the news, so that the consumer knows that Facebook is going to be using your personal data to advertise to you. So the thing that's just striking me as interesting and comical almost about this is that the history of privacy in the digital marketing industry is deep and vast, right? So years ago when we had websites hit the scene and everyone was figuring out what should go on a website and what content should be there and how they should be promoted. Eventually, the conversation came about that there needed to be a privacy statement to protect consumers. If you owned a website or own a website and you're collecting consumer data, you're required by law to let your consumer base know in your privacy statement how you're going to be using their information. So, for example, that used to be just email marketing, right? So I have to let my consumers know, hey, I'm going to send emails, or I'm going to sell your name to my partner companies, and they may send you emails. When paid search came on the horizon around 2000, early 2000s, so paid search, Google marketing, right? There was a lot of buzz around privacy because now you can collect search engine data. Google was collecting search engine data and retargeting consumers with that data to continue to market to them until they purchased online. So this is another data breach, right? So not data breach, sorry, data decision that was made to allow Google to literally follow you on the web with an advertisement based on your clicks and interests, right? So, so search engine marketing has gone through its evaluation, and there are laws around privacy for search engine marketing. Websites have to have privacy statements. Email marketing, something that my company and I have been personally involved in for almost 20 years. Email marketing and privacy is a complex conversation, but essentially, you cannot email someone without their permission. If you don't have at least a simple business relationship with them, you can't email them once even. You have to have a business card or some kind of evidence that you have a business relationship with someone to send even a first email to them. And if you want to continue to email to them, you need to have them opt into your list. And if they don't opt in or they opt out, you have 14 days by CAN spam laws to remove them from your list. So if you go to CAN spam, just Google CAN spam, CANSPAM, you can read about the email marketing laws that still exist. They haven't changed much over the years, but essentially you have to have permission to email someone. And if you keep them on your list without your permission, you can be fined. And I have known people in my industry who have been fined. So websites, search engine marketing, email, there's been privacy conversations around all of these for years, right? So over the years, eventually you get to the privacy conversation and there's laws put in place. Back in the early 2000, late 1999, late 1990s, the web was sort of a Wild West, right? There wasn't a lot of laws around how you could use the internet to market to consumers, but there are absolutely laws now. And so I share all this to bring us to this conversation about Google and Facebook, because from my understanding, and I'm not an attorney, I'm certainly not, the foremost expert on the technology either. I mean, I use the technology every day, both Google and Facebook. But my understanding is that Facebook is upset because Apple is going to tell consumers, hey, by the way, applications like Facebook are going to use your data to advertise to you. Okay, well, haven't we already been doing that? Haven't websites and search engine marketing and targeted display, which I can also talk about, every aspect of digital marketing has gone through a privacy conversation. So, why are we all so up in arms about the fact that Facebook is maybe having to do the same thing? They have had a Wild West, so to speak, in the last 5-8 years in Facebook advertising, especially the last 3 to 5 years. And they've been able to collect aggressively personal data on Facebook, and it's scary. If you've seen the movie Social Dilemma, there's a Netflix movie you can watch about how much information they do collect about you, and it is pretty intense what they know about you if you're using this channel on a regular basis. And obviously, they've been using that to enhance the advertising programs of their customers, of their advertising customers, right? So I buy Facebook ads and we target ads very specifically, and we're able to do that because of the information that Facebook collects, right? So it's probably one of the most powerful targeted ways to advertise to an online consumer that I know it's the most favored. I mean, Facebook advertising is very powerful if you use it right. But it absolutely is powerful because of the personal data that Facebook has about you, right? So that's all part of the game. So now Apple's coming along saying, hey, on a device level, we're going to ask people if they want to be, advertised to. We're going to let them know what data you're collecting or alert them. I'm not sure how this will exactly roll out or if it will roll out, but Facebook has engaged the small business community, um, kind of implying that this is going to destroy small business advertising opportunities, especially amidst COVID, because it's going to limit the Facebook advertising power and limit small businesses' ability to use Facebook advertising well. Well, for one thing, small businesses are not the only ones that have an advantage of Facebook advertising. Every company of every size is using Facebook advertising. So to attach to small business, I understand it is going to hurt small business. Absolutely. It's going to restrict and change how many consumers how much consumer data advertisers have access to for targeting. It will absolutely affect that world. No doubt. Small businesses will have to refocus their advertising. They'll have to focus more on their websites. They'll have to be more strategic about their search engine marketing, Google, local marketing, local search marketing on Google, Yahoo, and Bing is very powerful. So yes, this is going to affect small businesses in that their Facebook advertising will be less effective and have a smaller reach. It will reach less people because some people are going to say, hey, Apple, thank you for asking me on my phone whether or not I want to be advertised to by Facebook. And actually, no, I don't. So please opt me out. And there are going to be a certain amount of the population that will opt out of Facebook advertising. However, I've seen historically, and I've been in this business since forever, the mid 90s, really. I started my career at Adobe Systems and have worked in corporations managing online media for many years and run several agencies. And what I've seen is that there will be some consumers that will opt in. And actually, receiving ads that are relevant to you is a lot easier than receiving garbage ads that aren't relevant to you, right? So some people, if you sign up for a Pier 1 newsletter and you like Pier 1 and you want to hear, although Pier 1, that's a bad example. I'm sorry, they're going out of business. But if you sign up for a newsletter of a company that you like and frequently cater to and buy their products, do you mind if you get their newsletter every month? Maybe you're a pet owner and you get specials from Petco or whatever. So opting in to receive advertisements that are catered to you is not necessarily a bad thing. And it actually can make campaigns more powerful because you're actually advertising to people that have said, yes, I want to hear from you, Petco. I want to get your offers. Yes, send me your newsletter. And hey, when I'm on Facebook, show me Petco ads. So I think it's being spun very negatively, which I understand why Facebook is doing this. Facebook is going to take a major hit in the wallet when and if Apple puts these limitations in place. I understand they would be trying to engage the small business community to rebel against, the machine or whatever. I get it, but I think there's a good news, bad news story here. I think consumers are going to be more in control of the data and the advertising they get. And I think that advertisements on platforms like Facebook and Instagram are going to be more targeted and effective. Is this a bad thing? No. Is it going to take money out of certain social media platforms' pockets? Yes. Is it going to cause a shift in a marketing mix when a marketing director puts a marketing mix plan together? Hey, I want to spend this much on search engines. I want to spend this much on print. I want to spend this much on social media, maybe some targeted display, which is, display advertising, the banners that you see online. Is it going to cause marketing directors to reevaluate what they're spending their money on because Facebook advertising may change in its effectiveness? Yes. But have we been through that as an industry? I don't know, 20 times, 30 times in the last, I mean, we've been on it millions of times. If you just think about Google search, but marketing laws and algorithms and online media changes all the time. But major shifts in how marketing directors and VP of marketings spend their marketing dollars, that's just a regular occurrence in our industry. So yes, will it cause a shift? Absolutely. Will we all survive it? Yes, absolutely, we will. And I personally wouldn't mind if my clients and people in general who own any size of business would really focus, or it's my opinion that it's a good thing to do, to focus on your own website. But don't just hang your hat on social media platforms. You don't have control of social media platforms. You don't have control of the decisions that the leadership of that they're going, what their leadership's decisions are going to be made. You don't have 100% control search engines, but you do have a lot of control of your website and ways to drive traffic to your site that are independent thought, what you think you should be doing. And so, it's not a bad thing to shift towards thinking about the appearance of your website, the content that people find there, how easy it is to use. Is your form effective? Are you asking people for too much information or too little information? Making your site a really good machine is very fundamental. And it's fundamental because it's what you own. You own that domain, but it's also fundamental because it's where all this traffic you're driving lands, right? So if you have social media platform ads running and you have search engine ads running and you're driving people, or just good organic search strategy, and you're driving people to your website, when they get there, they need to know what to click on and they need to know how to become your customer. So your site being super slick and organized and easy to use is fundamental to digital marketing. That has shifted in importance over time. I think that social media kind of threatened to take that over. At times, people thought, oh, I just need a Facebook page. So not the case. You need a solid presence on your own website. You need a search engine strategy. It's great if you have an email marketing strategy. Email has remained the most powerful and I think cost-effective way of generating leads, even though it's not always the highest volume lead generator. It is always a good quality lead generator, and I can talk about that in another video. So you need all these things going on: paid search, your website, email, targeted display if you want. And that's a conversation to have too. There's a lot of different things you can do to drive traffic to your site, and there's things you need to do to convert that traffic on your site once people get there. So if you think of this Facebook Apple squabble going on in the midst of all the other things you need to be doing for a digital media strategy, yes, it's more than a blip. It is going to affect our worlds. But is it going to take down small business? I don't think so. Is it going to make small businesses more strategic? Maybe have to reach out and get help with their sites? Yes. Are they going to have to try something else besides Facebook ads? Yes. But I don't think it's going to ruin small business. So anyway, very familiar conversation to me. I've been in this industry many, many years, and privacy always comes around. Every single media type we have that evolves, the privacy conversation rolls around and decisions have to be made and laws are made. So to me, this is just that cycle happening. So I'm watching with you to see what happens and what the decisions are. And I will report back here as soon as we have the next set of news. And I look forward to keeping you up to date. Thanks for listening.